For my Henry Matisse painting, I first have to come up with a plan before I can start painting. So what I'm going to start with is my fishbowl. So I'm going to create a large oval that's sort of flattened out. And then from each side, I'm going to draw a straight line that goes down. And I really want to make sure that my fishbowl is kind of large here. There we go. And then once I have them down here, this line across the bottom should not be straight. It actually has to curve the same way that the top of my fishbowl does. So from down here, it's going to curve downward and then come back up. And then to add my water inside the fishbowl, I'm just going to put another little oval inside. All right, and then I'm going to draw my fish. Inside this fishbowl, I can choose to use one of these fish that I've created a little guide for, or you can be creative and make your own type of fish. I'll use this one for today, just so that you can see really quickly how I do this. The first step is to sort of do this almost football shape. It's a little bit open at the end. And they touch on this end. Then I add the tail. Then I'm adding my fin up here. Then it looks like I'm adding my lower fin. And then my eyes and my gills. Okay? And then I can add a few other fish in here if I want to. So these ones I might be a little bit faster with, just because I've had a little bit of practice now. Okay? I can add a few bubbles coming up, and I might even have some pebbles on the bottom with some plants coming up from the bottom too. Like that. Now, in my Henry Matisse painting, I'm also going to make sure that I'm showing a textured tablecloth, and he painted a lot of pictures with wallpaper in the background. So behind this fishbowl, I'm going to draw a little line like this. And I'm going to pick a texture for the table, and I'm going to pick a pattern also for the top. So for the table, I think I'm going to do one that just sort of has these diagonal lines that come down. You see that I'm sort of doing two at a time. And I'll have them connect here too. And then I'm going to go the opposite way too. So now these are also going to go this way. And I'm left with this nice little pattern. And then I can pick something different that I can put at the top. So I think for me, I'm going to just make these little flower shapes everywhere, all along the back. And then if I come to a place where the fishbowl is covering it, then I would just make sure it goes behind it so it's overlapping a little bit. Sometimes I might just see one little part of it, and that's okay. All right. And then for my last step, I like to have a little bit of overlapping because it makes my picture a little bit more interesting. So since I don't have an eraser for this, since it's marker, I can use a little bit of whiteout. And I can white out an area here so that I can add something in front. And I noticed that in some of Matisse's paintings, he sometimes had a fruit there. So since these are inspired by Henry Matisse, I'm going to also put a fruit here. So I think for mine, I'm going to have a little apple right here. And then I'm done. Now I made a few others so you can see some different examples. I made one that looks like this with different textures, and also one that looks like this. Be creative when you make yours.